Exactly. You know, none of these are working.
Right.
Email someone else.
So like, where's the camera?
That's there on that here on top.
Okay, very good. Oh, Lord, that sounds hard.
Yeah. It's just like, well.
I'm a plug.
I'm just somebody else doing it.
How are you, Amanda?
Good, how are you? We're all.
I don't know. Busy yourself. Yes, it is.
Rock the whole week, I think, so. It's like emotionally, I think.
Right.
Pandemic's done. Yours here.
Well,
Where?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it's somebody can call and they ought to do something.
Okay, we're ready to plug this thing in about 2 minutes.
About 4 minutes.
4 minutes? You got the guy in the black and white dress.
Green.
So we're good. 20.
The microphones aren't working.
That one is, so we're good for the streaming, everything's actually working, but
So this got green light on.
I know, but it's not.
Okay.
Oh, very loud.
No,
Can people?
No, I don't think they'll be made.
this one isn't either, is it? I'm not sure.
Jack Reynolds heard it.
I don't think this one's working either.
None of them are.
Oh, none of them.
IT, but they didn't respond.
They look cool, but oh, yeah.
I'm like one that got like,
Yeah, can
You want a headset?
put this around?
yeah, I want the little, mouthpiece.
Yeah.
All right, give me the, how about the tape, the recorder?
Yeah, we got the recorder. But see, like, on YouTube right now, all that sound is working because it's coming from that. So we're good there. It's just not coming back there. I don't know why.
Well, there's not many people.
I know, I think we'll be fine.
A lot of hard surface. Do we need to table case 10 because already
It's
Not the package.
okay,
yeah, I think Denise.
it's not in the.
Yeah. And then we do have a policy item.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, we're gonna get. Expect to do. Here.
It's on the here.
Right here.
There's a lot of time. So she's here. Yeah, so she's here. She's in the. Yeah.
All right.
So you'll just call her forward and.
It was nice for the majority of the time. Thank you very much.
We got backup. I love it.
Back up.
Your siblings all good.
Yeah, we didn't kill each other. We killed
That was Titus was office upstairs for you. With that bicycle vs.
Yeah.
Yes. Separated. This is Lafayette. that'll get a story or left in deck with an elevator. Bar.
Still know who you are.
I saw it.
There I am, next to
I mean, stuff that seems like, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he's so underworked.
Okay, are we ready to go? Okay, we will start tonight's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is, it's on, John. Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, the first item on the agenda is a few comments from Rita Paris regarding the Housing Council.
So, good evening, commission members. I'm here to give you a really interesting and rousing speech on Ohio Revised Code section 3735.69. That already tells you it's not going to be very interesting. The reason I am here is under the Ohio Revised Code, for all of the tax abatement areas or community reinvestment areas that we have a residential housing council. And the housing council meets at a minimum of once a year to approve the inspection report that is then submitted to the state of Ohio. The inspection report is required under the Ohio Revised Code to determine that properties that are given an abatement are maintained in decent, safe, and sanitary condition, basically from the exterior point of view, so that they can retain their abatement. If they don't maintain the property, they lose the abatement. So the Ohio Revised Code itself actually says that that the housing council members are supposed to do the inspection. Given the portfolio of properties that we currently have abated, there would be no rest for the weary if that were to happen. So folks on my staff, primarily the folks who oversee construction, there's not a lot of construction in January, February, spend their time in cars, driving around, doing the windshield view of all of these properties. One of the requirements of the Ohio Revised Code is that the Housing Council must consist of a variety of members, appointments by the mayor, appointments by council, and one, under the Ohio Revised Code, says by the Planning Commission, but of course the City of Columbus doesn't have a Planning Commission. You, the Development Commission, are a Planning Commission. I want to thank Marty Anderson, who has served with us for the last few years. I reached out to her prior to this meeting to see if I could twist her arm to joining us again, and she is willing to do so, but does not want to preclude any other lucky volunteers that would like to participate.
Don't be shy.
Gee, that's a hard one. I don't see any hands popping up. Okay, I think longevity should have some respect, and we should appreciate Marty's volunteering.
We do have a new member who I didn't want to preclude from having the opportunity.
You haven't heard this before.
You're right.
I thought surprise would be more effective.
Usually you would find out you've been elected.
I'm happy to serve, but honestly, I wanted to be sure that
Great.
it wasn't, anything that somebody else might to do.
We appreciate it.
Sure.
So do we need to take action on that?
Probably a vote would be helpful.
All right, let's have a motion to put Marty in here for one more year.
I think it's 3.
Oh, 3 more years. I think I've heard chants like that. Motion?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor? Okay, Marty is in. 3 more years.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be in touch.
All right, Rita, thank you.
Okay, we need a voice vote to table case number 10, which was originally on the agenda. It's not in the packet. So I need a motion to take that action.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, case number 10 is officially tabled. Tonight's agenda begins with case number 1, Z21-088, 5719 West Broad Street.
The site consists of 2 undeveloped parcels in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. Ordinance 3101-2019 has been approved for this site, which permits a multi-unit residential development. That ordinance was filed to help facilitate funding for an affordable housing project. It was conditioned on no certificate of zoning clearance being granted until follow-up rezoning to an appropriate apartment residential zoning district has been completed. The applicant is requesting the AR1 Apartment Residential District to permit a 92-unit senior housing facility. To the north, across Broad Street, is a retail pharmacy in the C4 Commercial District. To the northwest, in the grocery store in the C4 Commercial District with accessory fuel sales and a car wash in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. To the east is vacant land in our rural district. The west across Galloway Road is a trailer sales company in Prairie Township. To the south is a single-family dwelling in our rural district. Concurrent CD 21-107 has been filed to reduce the minimum number of parking spaces from 138 to 70 and to reduce the building setback from 50 feet to 8 feet. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the boundaries of the Westland Area Plan, which recommends open space, park, and buffer land uses for this location. Additionally, the plan includes early adoption of Columbus citywide planning policies and design guidelines. C2P2 further states that landscape installations should enhance buildings, create and define public and private spaces, and provide shade, aesthetic appeal, and environmental benefits. The site is located within the boundaries of the Westland Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested AR1 Apartment Residential District will allow senior housing development. The site includes additional landscaping and screening, both internal to the site, and street trees separating the sidewalk from Gallery Road, consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. While not a condition of support for the rezoning request, Planning Division staff notes the walkway between the parking lot and stream has been removed in the most recent site plan and encourages consultation with the Department of Recreation and Parks on it being re-included in the site plan, included with the concurrent council variance for greater consistency with C2P2 design guidelines for open space and connectivity. City Department's recommendation is for approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Okay, is there anyone here to speak regarding case number 1? Just the applicant. Give us your name for the record, and unless you've got anything you want to add to the presentation, I want to ask the question, only one question. Have you agreed to work further with the Recreation and Parks regarding the sidewalk?
Yes, we can connect on the sidewalk. Our civil has been talking to public service
Okay,
at length about it.
all right. We give that a lot of respect. So do we need to put that in the record? Yeah, I think we should. We'll just shout real loud because this is, okay, you've got staff approval, you've got area commission approval, and I think you're appropriate to the land. So unless anybody has any comments or questions.
Maybe Kathy does, Mr. Chair.
Kathy, do you want to speak regarding that connection or?
We can, it really is going to be more of a follow-up conversation with really the details of how that's going to be accomplished, but we're supportive, obviously, and continuously about making sure that we connect between units and some of the natural environment.
All right, I would like to add to the record for tonight's hearing that this action we take tonight encourages that continued discussion and resolution of the connectivity that Kathy has mentioned. So,
And we'll make sure that we're following up with our peers. So that there's some communication of exactly what's happening.
and it should be consistent with the variance request as well.
Yes.
Okay, a motion for that to go forward.
So moved.
Second? Second. All those in favor? Okay, please call the roll.
Chair, was there any comments from traffic before we go?
I would assume not, but I'll get, Dan, you want to weigh in on this? No traffic?
No traffic comments on this rezoning application.
Okay,
Any comments were just addressed.
planning? Okay, you're good? Okay, there we go.
Marty Anderson,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Henderson,
Yes.
Kay McQuay,
Yes.
Denise Keys.
Yes.
and Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move forward to case number 2, Z21-011, 2400 Old Dublin Road.
Your supplemental packet is a letter of support from Recreation and Parks and an associated exhibit of trail life. The 69.99 acre site consists of 9 parcels formerly used as part of a quarry operation in the M manufacturing district and is subject to ordinance 2277-2019, which permits a mixed use with 864 residential units and 80,500 square feet of commercial development, which is currently under construction. The requested rezoning to the R3 residential district, AR3 apartment residential district, and CPD commercial plan development district fills a condition of ordinance 2277-2019 to rezone the subject site to an appropriate residential and commercial district. The new subarea F, not subject to CD 19023 is included, proposing the AR3 apartment residential district. The proposed project totals are 320 single unit dwellings, 1,075 apartment units, and 80,500 square feet of mixed commercial space. To the north, south, and west of the site is the future Quarry Trails Metro Park in the M Manufacturing District, and further south is a 9.22 acre site pending rezoning to the AR1 apartment residential district. To the east is undeveloped land in the M Manufacturing District, and further east is a single unit residential subdivision in the PUD4 Plan Unit Development District. To the west across Dublin Road is industrial development in the M Manufacturing District. The site is located within the planning area of the Treby Roberts Area Plan, which recommends quarry for this location, but also states that reuse of quarry should be restored in a manner that is compatible with the community and maximize recreational reuse potential where appropriate. The site also includes complete adoption of C2P2 design guidelines. The proposed development is adjacent to future parkland, therefore the uses are supported. Planning Division staff notes the overall site plan reflects pedestrian connectivity from the site to Treby Road, adjacent parkland, and the development to the south, subject to Z21-017 and CV21-020, consistent with both plans' design guidelines emphasizing connections to adjacent development and parkland. Concurrent CV21-016 proposes variances to permit commercial parking in the AR3 district in subarea C, along with standard variances addressing aisle, maneuvering, parking space size, parking lot trees, lot width, area, fronting, rear yard, and perimeter yard requirements. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting, but the following information is being provided. Planning Division staff has reviewed building elevations and site details for subarea F and has determined they are consistent with the Treby Roberts Area Plan and C2P2 design recommendations. The proposed CPD district specifies C4 commercial district uses, including 57,000 square feet of general office space, 15,000 square feet of eating and drinking establishment space, 3,500 square feet of patio space, and 5,000 square feet of retail space. The text also includes development standards addressing setbacks, access, parking lot screening, and shared parking. Modifications for reduced number of parking lot trees, for parking to be divided by parcel lines, a parking space reduction from 391 spaces to 54 spaces, and for no loaded spaces are included in the CPD text. Traffic-related commitments as requested by the Division of Traffic Management have also been included in the CPD text. Staff notes that this text will need to be updated prior to City Council considerations to incorporate the results of the other discussions that are in progress to define appropriate developer responsibilities for this area of development, resulting from the approved traffic impact study. It is currently anticipated that item 3B7, which was carried over from CV 19023, will be replaced with updated language. And if you have further questions about traffic, Daniel will be able to answer those. The site is located within the boundaries of the West Side Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval of the requested zoning districts and variances associated with concurrent CB 21016. The letter in the supplemental packet addresses commitments that have been worked out with Recreation and Parks regarding the parking dedication ordinance. The requested R3 residential, AR3 apartment residential, and CPD commercial plan development districts establish appropriate residential and commercial districts for the 320 single unit dwellings, 1,075 apartment units, and 80,500 square feet of mixed commercial space comprising the Quarry Trails development. The request is consistent with the land use recommendation of the Trade Roberts Area Plan that quarry reuse be compatible with the community and maximize recreational use, as the proposed development is adjacent to parkland, is therefore supported. As the applicant has worked out the parkland dedication ordinance commitments with Recreation Parks, City Department's recommendation has been updated to approval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Kelsey? Traffic, Dan?
As Kelsey mentioned, a traffic impact study has been approved for this application. We're working with the applicant to refine some of the cost estimates, and that will inform some more of the commitment language that ends up going in the ordinance for this application.
Will that be done by the time this goes to city council?
That is the plan.
Okay. And how about planning?
Further comments?
Now, Kathy, floor is yours.
I'm just going to be brief to allow the applicant to also fill in with quite a bit more information, but you can see from the slide on the screen, the commitment made by the applicant to support the Greenways Trail to go through this property. The intent is to go from Trayview into the northern part of the property, which is where the Metro Parks property is located, so that we can continue the Greenway Trail system through this part of the city, where we've got some significant unmet needs. I'll let you guys fill in.
Is it, in your opinion, is that possible to work out before this goes to city council in a month?
Yes, we're really close at making sure that everything has been taken care of between this case and the adjacent piece of property. We've been working really hard as a team to coordinate these to make sure that everything is taken care of by the time everything goes to city council.
Okay, well, teamwork helps the success of a development as well. So is there anyone here to speak regarding application number 2 tonight?
Mr. Chairman, my name is Joe Reedy. I'm with the developer.
Okay, but it appears there's no opposition here. Do you want to add anything to what the staff has presented? You've gotten approvals for both the area commission and now the city staff, conditioned upon working things out with Kathy. So
The only thing is to thank Kathy and her team, as well as Dan and his team with traffic. This is a large, complicated site in an area that has many challenges, and they have been working diligently with us to address those challenges. As Kathy alluded to, there's a little bit more of a story to tell about the Greenways Trail. As part of our development, we are transferring 43 acres along Skinny Piece, where much of that blue line is, that runs all the way up to Dublin Road on the north end of the site to Metro Parks. In addition, our development company is committed to contributing $2 million towards the construction of the trail to help make it a reality. Because as Kathy indicated, this is an area that very much needs a connection to the Greenway system.
that's great. And we don't have that many quarries to throw around in Central Occupancy.
Just one or two.
That's great. And there's a history of good cooperation with the city to get a real gem. And this is certainly a place where that can happen.
They've truly been our partners throughout.
Okay, well, I wish you the best of luck in the following month after tonight, before you go to city council. It sounds like you've got things pretty well organized, and Kathy, you're good with that.
We've got things well under control, right?
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, please call the roll.
Andy Golden,
Yes.
Johnny Wilson,
No,
Dan Woodward,
Yes.
Denise Keys.
Yeah.
Marty Anderson.
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes. You are approved.
Thank you.
We're on the next one also, so we'll just sit here.
All right. I will call for the next one. It is case number 3. Z21-017, 3136 Trayview Road.
As with the previous one, in your supplemental packet is a letter from Recreation and Parks indicating their support and an associated exhibit of their Greenway corridor. The 9.22 acre site consists of undeveloped portions of 2 parcels zoned as an M manufacturing district. The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit a multi-unit residential development. This application was tabled at the June 10th, 2021 Development Commission meeting to allow the applicant more time to address the Division of Traffic Management and Planning Division issues. The traffic impact study has since been approved, and site and building design comments from the Planning Division have been addressed. To the north of the site is Quarry Trails Metro Park in the M Manufacturing District, and further north is the 69.99 acre Quarry Trails mixed-use development pending zoning to the R3, AR3, and CPD districts. To the east is an industrial building in the M Manufacturing District. To the south, across Trayview Road, is an apartment complex in the LAR 12 and single-unit dwellings and a single-unit residential subdivision in the PUD 4 Planned Unit Development District. The west across Dublin Road is industrial development in the M Manufacturing District. The site is located within the planning area of the Trayview Roberts Area Plan, which recommends quarry for this location, but also states that the reuse of quarry should be restored in a manner that is compatible with the community and maximize recreational reuse potential where appropriate. Proposed residential development is adjacent to future parkland, therefore the use is supported. Concurrent CB 21-020 proposes 2 4-story apartment buildings totaling 266 units with variances to permit commercial access on a private street within the development to connect to the almost adjacent quarry redevelopment site, increase building height from 60 to 65 feet, reduce parking from 399 to 360 spaces, and reduce perimeter yard. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting, but the following information is being provided. Planning Division staff notes and are in support of additional information on connectivity of the project with the adjacent park and development, as well as the addition of more bicycle parking. Staff are supportive of the proposed site landscaping, and while additional landscaping and screening at the site's southeast corner, as it addresses Trayview Road and Quarry Trail Drive, is encouraged for greater consistency with landscaping guidelines, staff will not condition support of the council variance on this revision. Lastly, staff has reviewed building elevations, which are consistent with the Trayview Roberts area plan and C2P2 design recommendations. Significant comments remain outstanding related to the site layout and pedestrian and bicycle connectivity that will need to be resolved with the Division of Traffic Management. The site is located within the boundaries of the West Side Area Commission, whose recommendation is for conditional approval with the conditions related to the site design as presented in the concurrent CB 21-020. Now, the recreation park comments have been addressed for the letter in your supplemental packet. The requested AR1 apartment residential district will permit multi-unit residential development. The Trayview Roberts area plan recommends that quarry reuse be compatible with the community and maximize recreational reuse, consistent with the request, as the proposed development is adjacent to future parkland and is therefore supported. The site plan with CB 21-020 also addresses the plan in C2P2 design guidelines. As the PDO requirements have been addressed, City Department's recommendation has been updated to approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions on this? Okay, Dan, traffic?
So with the previous application, a traffic impact study has been approved and we're continuing to work with the applicant and the specific commitments that will go into the ordinance. And then we're also continuing to work with the applicant on concurrent council variance.
Okay, Kathy?
As you can see by the slide we're showing, there's an easement that's been agreed to by the applicant and Recreation Parks. That's the first piece of that Greenway Trail that goes through this corridor that Joey was referring to. So we're comfortable and satisfied that things have been taken care of. There are a couple of Ts to cross and a couple of things to be submitted by city council, but we expect that they'll be taken care of.
Okay, very similar to the other things. And planning?
As noted, we were continuing to encourage additional landscaping to screen the parking that runs towards Trailview. But there is a really grade difference there that's a mitigating factor and that condition are supported.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak regarding case number 3, Trailview Road? Okay, no opposition. Is there anything you want to add to the presentation?
First is, Kelsey mentioned that there were conditions attached to the area commission approval. We addressed those, and in fact, as she has covered the application, one of the things they wanted us to go from 6 stories to 5. We've gone to 4, so we've addressed that. And we've provided the building elevations, which you saw in the packet. So those are the conditions that they apply.
So when you go from you requested to go from 6 to 5, but you went all the way from 6 to 4, is that exceeding expectations or underseeding?
I believe that would be exceeding expectations, and,
All right.
and we were happy to do it. This red highlighted area on the figure that's up there, what's really cool about this is this would facilitate a northern opening for a tunnel underneath Trailview Road and would be part of the Greenway system. So it would bring this tunnel in through property on the south side of Trailview Road, which really lends itself to a Greenway Trail. And then the north end of this red highlighting connects directly to trails that Metro Parks already has constructed in the Metro Park. So it really connects our development with the park itself.
Okay, great.
Chair, I have a question.
Yes, please.
How many units are affordable?
In the project, let's see, it's 20, we did the 10% at 80% AMI and 10% at 100% AMI.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, John.
So explain to me just the parking variance from 391 to 54. You have 54 total parking spaces or a reduction of 54?
It's a reduction of 54.
All right, well, it doesn't read quite that way in the staff report, but I was just wondering.
It's a fair question, but
It's not 54 total.
Okay.
we wouldn't be able to
That's
leave
good.
it if we did
I
that.
was wondering how that.
You draw straws, and those that don't come out good have to give up their car. Okay, everybody, okay? All right, Kelsey, I'd like to put the same condition in the preamble to this, that the continuing I's and T's need to be dotted and crossed regarding the park lane connectivity and the trail extension.
Okay.
Just so it's there, I have every faith it'll be there. Okay, please call the roll.
Johnny Wilson,
Yeah,
Ken Luque,
Yes.
Denise Pease,
Yes.
Marty Anderson,
Yes.
Amanda Golden.
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we would go to case number 4. Z21-095, 1300 to 1312 West King Avenue.
site is developed with a 42-unit apartment complex in the C4 Commercial District, constructed in 1960. The requested AR2 apartment residential district will conform the existing development. To the north of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the AR3 apartment residential district. To the south and west are multi-unit dwellings in the C4 Commercial District. To the east is a commercial development in the CPD Commercial Plan Development District. Concurrent CV 21-124 has been filed to vary the rear yard, landscaping, screening, parking setback line, and minimum number of parking spaces required. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the planning boundaries of the 5th by Northwest Area Plan, which recommends mixed-use land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes early adoption of C2P2 design guidelines. The site is located within boundaries of the 5th by Northwest Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The requested AR2 apartment residential district will secure proper zoning for a multi-unit residential development that is compatible with the density and development standards of adjacent residential developments. The proposal is also consistent with the land use recommendations of the 5th by Northwest Area Plan, and City Department's recommendation is for approval. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Dan, traffic issues?
No traffic issues.
Kathy?
No recreation park concerns.
Okay, and Chris, you got anything?
The applicant addressed our concerns with screening and adding additional street trees, so.
Okay, Jack, you're here. Is anyone here to speak regarding application number 4 tonight? Okay, no.
We're just correcting a 62-year-old discrepancy. Somehow an apartment building got built on C4 and it's been in the same family for that entire 62 years, and they went to sell it, and the purchaser did its due diligence and said, is this illegal? And so we're fixing a problem.
Well, every 62 years, that's a pretty good record. Yes. Okay, I think with no further ado, we'll call the roll.
Dan Hoopweg,
Yes.
Denise Keys,
Yes.
Marty Anderson,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Thank you, folks.
Okay, case number 5, Z21-094, 782 and 744 North Wilson Road.
The site consists of 6 parcels, 2 of which are developed with former dwellings converted to commercial uses, and an industrial building in the LC4, limited commercial, and LM, limited manufacturing districts. 1 developed with a single unit dwelling in the LC2, limited commercial district, and 3 that are undeveloped in LC2, limited commercial, and R rural districts. The requested CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, will permit a fuel sales, convenience store, eating and drinking establishment in sub-area A, and if future commercial use, C2 Commercial District permitted uses in sub-area B. To the north of the site is a multi-unit residential development in the LARLD, Limited Apartment Residential District, and a car wash in the C5 Commercial District and LM1 Limited Manufacturing District. To the south is undeveloped land and single-unit dwellings fronting on Fisher Road in Franklin Township. To the east are single-unit dwellings in the R2, R1, and SR residential districts. To the west across North Wilson Road is industrial development in M manufacturing district and a single-unit dwelling in SR suburban residential district. The site is located within the planning boundaries of the Hilltop Land Use Plan, which recommends employment center and open space land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes adoption of Columbus Citywide Planning Policy Design Guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. The development text commits to a site plan and includes building elevations and includes development standards addressing setbacks, site access, landscaping, building design, and graphics provisions. The requested CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, will allow fuel sales, convenience store, and eating and drinking establishment, and sets aside a sub-area for future office commercial development. Planning Division staff acknowledges the inclusion of an office component with this development where the predominant proposed use is fuel sales and convenience retail, which is inconsistent with the employment center recommendation of the Hilltop Land Use Plan and is therefore not supported. Staff supports the proposed site plan, noting that it's consistent with C2P2 design guidelines, including expanded tree preservation areas to include the site's southern edge, landscaping and street trees along North Wilson Road frontage to provide parking lot screening from the roadway, and additional landscaping in the site's northeast corner around Plow Ditch. City Department's recommendation is for disapproval, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Dan, traffic?
Traffic impact study has been approved for this application, and the applicant will be installing a traffic signal at the intersection of Wilson.
And that won't change with office uses added later. Okay, Kathy?
We have no concerns.
Chris?
As noted by staff, the real hangup here is the use. So the plan recommends employment center, although it could be construed as being supportive of employment center elsewhere, the warehouse, et cetera, industrial areas. We still couldn't get to support on that. We do recognize that they show an office area to the north, which does mitigate that concern. And the site plan is otherwise consistent with CTP2 guidelines.
Okay, and this, at first glance, doesn't look like a good warehouse site.
We consulted with Economic Development Division, and they saw this site as a potential, not warehouse, but other jobs uses.
Okay. All right, is there anyone here to speak regarding application number 5 tonight? Gentlemen.
David Hodge, attorney for the applicant.
Andrew Richland, Scope and Goal, project manager.
So a little bit of an interesting site, and fortunately, the applicant here was not able to get all the way home with the planning division, resulting in the staff's recommendation. Notwithstanding that, the applicant did work closely with planning throughout the process, modified the plan, and you heard Mr. Moore say that it's consistent with the C2P2 guidelines. We did what we could with planning throughout this. Unfortunately, the use is the use, and this designation is employment center. There's an argument there, I guess, that this is a use that is supportive of the employment center, and that's our argument. And some of Christopher's colleagues, I guess, thought that maybe this should be an office or something else. We don't think that this is an office site at all. We have the little office on the plan. That could be a dentist or a vet or somebody that's a kind of a neighborhood services type of office use. You can see here from the site plan, and we have the other in the package. That's the color version. About half the site is in green space. We've been purposeful here in preservation of these perimeters to buffer this from adjacent uses and kind of create an island unto the convenience store, gas station, and office use. I do want to circle back and say something about the plan. This is here before the commission with a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Greater Hilltop Area Commission. The vote there was 12-0 with 3 folks that were not present that ended up with abstentions on your record. And that recommendation is hopefully in your package. When an area plan is done, it's Christopher and Mr. Travillis and folks on the city's planning team working in conjunction with the area commissions who ultimately adopt the plan, comes to Development Commission, then on to council for adoption of the plan. So many of the folks who were involved in the creation of the Greater Hilltop Land Use Plan still sit on the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, participated in that planning process, and saw appropriate to vote yes for this proposal that's before you tonight. So I should have hit on that when I was talking about the plan and thought I better circle back there. With this sheet site, they're going to have in the neighborhood of $700,000 of annual payroll. So there is some employment center attributes there. As Mr. Moorhead said, this does does have an approved traffic impact study. That traffic impact study calls for a new signal at the intersection. That new signal at the intersection is going to make the other corners of the intersection more viable for development. So we think that's going to create some additional commercial tax base opportunity, which does provide jobs and employment and eventually better tax base to the city. We've also worked and committed in our text to provide cross access to the parcel up to the north. And so we've engaged with adjacent property owners. All in all, with what I would consider a soft no from city planning, but a unanimous recommendation of the Greater Hilltop Area Commission, we would respectfully request that this commission recommend approval so we can go on and engage further in this conversation with Columbus City Council.
Okay, we get the picture very, very clearly. Any questions or comments from anybody? Okay, please call the roll.
Keys.
No.
Marty Anderson,
No.
Amanda Golden,
No.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Ken Mugway,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
I also vote yes. I think it's an investment in an area that could use a little shot in the arm, and it's pretty well put together. So you have a split vote, 3-3. Go forward with. And we will fill out this information sheet that goes to city council with our comments as to why we voted the way we voted.
Very good. Thank you all very much.
You bet. Okay, case number 6, Z21-107, 1380 West Mound Street.
Yeah, the site is a 1.2 acre area consisting of 4 undeveloped parcels. 3 of these parcels are zoned in the M Manufacturing District, and the 4th parcel, which is the one along Mound Street, is zoned in the C4 Commercial District. There are 2 existing 16-foot alleyways on site which will remain to provide access to proposed development. Rezoning request to CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, will permit the development of an automatic car wash. The north of the site is a garage/warehouse in the M Manufacturing District. South of the site are commercial grocery in the M Manufacturing District, as well as automotive, commercial, and garage uses in the C4 Commercial District. East of the site are commercial warehouse in the M Manufacturing District, as well as a drive-through restaurant in the C4 Commercial District. West of the site, across South Central Avenue, is a commercial shopping center in the M Manufacturing District, as well as a undeveloped, unzoned parcel owned by the city of Columbus. The site is within the planning boundaries of the West Franklin Plan, which recommends that this site be community commercial land uses. It is located within the boundaries of the Franklin Area Commission. By the way, in your supplemental packet is the recommendation from the Area Commission. It was not finalized which the court was, but they have recommended that it be approved with conditions. The CPD text proposes that a single unit car wash with off-site vacuum areas or C4 district uses if the car wash is not developed. The text incorporates development standards addressing setbacks, access, right-of-way dedication, lot coverage, pre-treated landscaping, exterior building materials, and a commitment to a site plan. Modifications to code standards include the elimination of a bypass lane and reduced parking and building setbacks. Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies the portion of South Central Avenue as the urban community connector requiring 80 feet of right-of-way. It also identifies the portion of West Mount Street as an urban commuter corridor requiring 100 feet of right-of-way. The City Department's recommendation is for approval. I believe the requested CPD Commercial Plan Development will permit development of a car wash facility that's compatible with the adjacent developments, and the proposal is consistent with the West Franklin Plan and its recommendation of community commercial uses at this location. I have to answer questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes.
Well, maybe let's do traffic first and then I have a question for
Okay.
John. For Joe.
Traffic, Dan?
No traffic issues.
And Kathy?
No recreation park concerns.
Chris? Okay.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. No, the Franklinton Area Commission, they had some concerns or conditions, but I didn't read that.
The condition basically was that if it was with city approval, that the applicant paint a pedestrian walkway across the south lane by one of the drive.
And Dave, that's being done?
It's not, it's not really a condition of their action. They voted unanimously to approve it, but requested of me and the city to look at whether the South Central Avenue right in, right out can be striped for a crosswalk. It would be a striping within the right of way, so it would be subject to traffic management. I told the commission that night that I would check on that the next morning and did with Daniel Moorhead and have gotten back to the commission that it's not likely that it would be striped.
Not likely.
Not likely.
Why, Dave?
This is not a typical location where we stripe a crosswalk. This is an athlete, second arterial. We have those all through the city. Strike those. We will, of course, as design progresses, make sure that right in, right out is designed to safely accommodate the pedestrian mode, which that was the concern that the commission had.
Okay.
In my discussion the next morning with Daniel, the zoning plan is just a plan view. It's not an engineered design of the right in, right out, but I understand the sidewalk would be at the same grade as the adjacent driveway grades. In other words, there would not be a step up onto the island, and there would be some kind of orange post markings to depict the island for driver visibility and also the path for the pedestrians. So this isn't, Moo Car Wash will gladly strike the walk if it is permitted to by the city, but that's where that situation is.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. So the corner of Mountain Central, when I'm looking at your plan, there's a little cutoff there that's kind of got that handicap ramp up to the sidewalks, or what is that?
Right at the corner.
Setback or vision thing on the corner?
Well, a couple things, Mr. Ingwerson. There's a small parcel right at the corner that is not part of this site. It is separately owned and not part of the Moo Car Wash site.
Okay.
That line that jogs around a bit actually is the one that's labeled PL is the property line. The one below that is an extraneous AutoCAD line.
Okay. Second question, if you would go back to that site plan. So have you had this in front of site compliance preliminary or nothing yet, or?
It's been discussed at length with traffic management. The actual site compliance plan meeting is upcoming.
Okay, so Daniel, what's your comment on widening the sidewalk on South Central?
That is part of what they're going to be required to do. Consistent with what we mentioned with the property to the north that you might be familiar with.
Okay, I'm familiar with that. I'm just curious. So
yeah,
that's going to change your grading a little bit, just from my experience.
Okay, I mean, all of the thoroughfare plan right away for both Central and Mound is being provided with the zoning so that whatever the sidewalk requirements will be.
And you've got a little more, there's a little more hill at the west side of your, of the parcel B, I think that's what that's called, but it drops off, it starts to drop off pretty quick right there.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Okay, house cleaning up. Franklinton Area Commission, is there any chance they're gonna have a statement, or they?
Oh, they voted for approval.
They voted for approval.
Okay, nice.
it's right there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Gotta put an X in the right place. Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, we will call the roll.
All right, Amanda Golden.
Yes.
John Ingwerson.
Yeah.
Ken Ukwe.
Yes.
Denise Keys.
Yeah.
Marty Anderson
Yes.
and Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved.
We're gonna get stuck on a page like this. It's 7 minutes. Sorry.
The site is zoned CPD, oh,
John's telling me that he voted yes instead of no. Okay, you are approved on case number 6. We go forward to case number 7, Z21-106, 5430 North Hamilton Road.
the site is zoned CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, as part of ordinance 1947-2015. The site has vehicular access by shared driveway with 5420 North Hamilton Road and 5438 North Hamilton Road. Both 5420 and 5438 North Hamilton Road are zoned in CPD districts and are developed with the retail fuel center and commercial bank building respectively. The proposed rezoning from the existing CPD district to the new CPD district is to replace the registered site plan referenced in ordinance 1947-2015. The 2015 registered site plan shows this area to be developed with a single 13,400 square foot commercial building oriented parallel to the east property line. With this request, 2 buildings are proposed, with building 1 being 6,300 square feet parallel to the south property line, and building 2 being 7,500 square feet oriented parallel to the east property line. The intended uses, office and preschool, are presently permitted by ordinance 1947-2015. To the north and east are single unit dwellings in Plain Township and in the R rural district respectively. To the south is commercial development in the CPD commercial plan. Development standards addressing setbacks, site access, landscaping, screening, and building materials. The text also includes code modifications, the parking lot aisle, and maneuvering. The requested CPD, Commercial Plan Development District, modifies the site plan on the current CPD to facilitate the construction of an office and educational facility. Relevant commitments within the CPD plan and text are carried over from the existing CPD district, including development standards addressing setbacks, site access, landscaping, screening, and building materials. The request remains consistent with the North Hamilton Road development pattern and City Department's recommendations for approval.
Okay, questions? Dan, any traffic issues here?
All traffic issues have been resolved.
Okay, Kathy?
No concerns.
Great. Chris?
No issues.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 7? Okay, two speakers. Do you want to add anything to the staff presentation?
Not at this point.
All right,
Go back if there's speakers.
yeah, we'll have their comments and then you come back.
I'll defer to the other speaker, Mr. Chair, if it's okay, and then come back.
Okay, we have no microphones, so you just talk loud. The desk is not a sacred place right now. Okay, if you give us your names for the record and your comments.
Thank you. Tim Riedel from the law firm of Bailey Cavalieri, appearing on behalf of Sarah Rastigar, to my left, the owner of the parcel to the north of the subject parcel, with the address of 5454 North Hamilton Road.
Okay.
Thank you. Sarah has several concerns with regard to the proposed application. and its harmful effect on the development of her lot. For example, the plan indicates that the dumpster box will be placed within the 25-foot setback and also in front of the building and right along her property. Dumpsters are typically in the back of the building and outside of the setback requirements. And Sarah believes that this proposed placement negatively affects the development of her lot. And as I'll discuss in more detail, poses a significant safety risk. There's no evidence that that denying the variance will cause any unnecessary hardship. This is a flat, undeveloped, vacant piece of land. So the problem is entirely self-created by the applicant. There's no unique feature of the lot, like a wetland or steep grades or anything like that that would necessitate a variance. Along the property line for the north lot, they're also proposing a variance of the parking setback from 10 feet to 5 feet. Again, there is no showing of unnecessary hardship on the applicant. And this also can harm the property owner to the north. If she develops her lot, which she intends to do, she may need a reduction or a variance of some sort. And the fact that this applicant is already granted a variance shortening the setback would adversely affect her development of the property. The application also indicates or asks for a variance in the form of reducing maneuvering room from 20 feet to 0 feet. And this is in the area of an easement from the bank property that intended to be, vis-a-vis Sarah, a stub easement to presumably provide cross access from her property to the bank's property. And so the way I read the application, they're asking for the access road to also serve as the maneuvering, which is also close to the dumpster. And then the applicant has 7 parking spaces to the west. And there are also parking spaces, bank property, also to the eastern border of the cross access easement. So it seems that there is a lot of activity, and I should say on the northern border for the bank, there are ATM machines, which is a one-way road that runs east and west along the northern property line. So not only will you have bank parking, you'll have the applicants parking, you'll have bank customers using the ATM, and then presumably with the future easement across into Sarah's lot, traffic from her lot. So there's a lot going on there. It is a very congested area with too much traffic. It poses a substantial safety risk. And on top of that, as I indicated, the maneuvering space is in that easement also. As Sarah's intention as she develops her lot is to build the building in front near North Hamilton. So the two stub easements provided on the bank property are really of no use because the first stub easement is closer to the front near North Hamilton, which would be right next to her building. And then the second easement in the back has its problems as I just discussed. The original approval provided for an access behind the single building on the subject lot. So if a stub easement is appropriate anywhere, it's in the back of that building, which the current application has eliminated. Yeah, that was originally designed in Z15015 dated June 11th, 2015. And then that back access was maintained in Z19-063. So on these bases, we object to the allowance of the variances, ask that the application be denied, or at a minimum, that the application be tabled so that we can further discuss and hopefully resolve these issues.
I have an immediate comment. To begin with, we don't weigh in on variance requests. They affect and clarify the scene, but our role is to be an advising body to city council, whether we think land use is appropriate or non-appropriate. Parking setbacks, maneuvering setbacks, things, parking ratios. Often, if you got here earlier, you heard many comments where this will not be heard tonight. This is going to a variance. So most of the things you mentioned are in the purview of a different body, different commission. That said, we still have whether this thing works or it doesn't work. And is it appropriate to have a dumpster on the gateway into the property right next to 5 feet away from somebody's property? So those are considerations, but we don't, like some commissions, we don't get into what color your shutters are or what type of brick you chose. Is it appropriate or is it not appropriate is what we focus on. So if they're asking for too much of a good use, that steps on the toes of appropriateness. So we've got to get into that. But you'll be making a presentation just like you made at a different group at some point in the future regarding the variances, whether they're acceptable or not. If they're not acceptable, then what time you spent tonight was wasted because something's got to change before it comes back here. So are these two office buildings appropriate? In the perfect world, sure. I think they're appropriate. I'm only one vote, but I think they're appropriate. But I think the envelope's been pushed pretty close to the edge, or there wouldn't be a need on an open piece of ground to ask for variances. And you're going to hear that when you go to the zoning variance commission. So let's get the applicant back up here. I think you've made a very, very clear presentation of what your concerns are. And I think we'll take it up with David and then we'll cast our vote. But you've got a much more important hearing with the variances that will go before the Board of, what's it called? The
Building, no, BZA.
BZA.
Or this is council variance, completely council,
These are not,
city council.
just to be clear, these are not variances, these are modifications to the code within the CPD text. But you're correct in saying that city council would be the next.
Okay, well, that's a critical step, and, you know, in that case, we have to peel it, a much closer look regarding the things you're gonna, so let's let David come back to the head table. Oh, questions?
No, you let Dave speak.
Dave.
He never let somebody else speak first.
Thank you, sir. I can be brief, actually. Our committee, I'm Dave Paul with the Northland Community Council. Our committee did hear this case on February 26th. I will mention just that we had 7 cases that night, and we did not even get to the point where we were discussing our recommendations until the meeting had gone on for 4 hours. The only reason I say that, and I know you're no stranger to long meetings either, so the only reason I even mention that is because candidly, this seemed to the committee to be one of the much less controversial of the cases we heard that night. The committee thought they understood why the applicant was requesting the change in the CPD plan to add the 2 buildings. There were questions about the maneuvering. There were questions about the traffic lane that is being devised and again, the implicit variance, if you will, to allow maneuvering across the property line. I think the committee understood all those arguments. Ultimately, the committee voted unanimously, 11-0, with 2 abstentions, who were folks who just couldn't hang in all 4 hours, to recommend approval of this application. I will mention Ms. Rastigar was there, did present her concerns to the committee. The committee recognized her concerns, but we felt that that was not one of the issues before our group either, that we could really take a position on. So the weight of the evidence presented to us was that this application was something that we should support, and we'd encourage you to do that as well.
Okay, thanks, David.
Thank you.
Traffic issues.
We did not have any discussion regarding what's been brought up. I've not heard from the neighbor about these concerns.
Any, Kathy, do you have any comment? Your point of view?
No, sir. There are no comments from the
Chris?
Planning is in support.
Okay, David, please come back. Walking a little gimpy there, buddy.
These are getting a few miles on them these days.
Well, it is spring. Comments on the dumpster placement, the narrow parking buffer between the property, your property and the property of the north.
Yeah. Certainly. Let's start with a little background. In 2015, 0.6 acres was rezoned from rural to CPD. And that 3.6 acres has subsequently been divided by lot split to a Kroger fuel station, a Bank of America parcel, and the parcel owned by Equity. There are 3 distinct separate parcels now. And the only portion of the site that is subject to this rezoning is the Equity parcel, 1.5 acres at the east end of the property. The Bank of America site also abuts the property to the north. The property to the north is in Plain Township, but zoned commercial, and is used to some degree. The building is a former dwelling that is used in part in part or whole. I don't know the answer to that, but surely in part by the signage for commercial uses. The Bank of America The 2015 CPD was conditioned on a site plan. It reflected the Kroger fuel and what was anticipated at that time in the commercial development. In 2019, Bank of America submitted a rezoning for their parcel, which is about 0.8 or 0.9 acres immediately adjacent to the north property line, for the sole purpose of rezoning from CPD to CPD to change the 2015 site plan applicable to that 0.8 or 9 acres to the Bank of America site plan. The Bank of America site has now been built. There is nothing in this zoning before you that has anything to do with the Bank of America parcel. It is not part of the site. So the building areas are essentially equivalent, 13.4 in the 2015 ordinance and 13.8 in the current application for the 1.5 acres. Again, this application has nothing to do with Kroger Fuel or Bank of America. The uses, the planned uses, the buildings have gone from a large 2-story building to 2 single-story buildings. Staff, how should I get this to the commissioners? There's 2 of them, 10. Sorry. Okay, so this drawing is the 2015 CPD plan. And where I have marked in red, just for history, the 2015 zoning I was not involved with the Bank of America zoning, but I've marked in red on the Bank of America parcel where it says future vehicular connection. And the 2015 ordinance has that language in it that access must be provided. And Bank of America used the same language I prepared in 2015, obligating Bank of America to provide access. So number one, if the redevelopment of the Plain Township parcel, which is only going to occur after it's annexed to Columbus anyway, and it hasn't been, chooses to block that access, that's on them. There's a second access, this site plan. Second one I passed out is the Bank of America site plan. And again, this shows nothing related to the zone that you're reviewing. There are 2 red lines on that. And those are two access points to provide access to the parcel to the north. And the only reason this was provided in the first place was because in 2015, Hamilton Road was in the planning stage. The widening of Hamilton Road was a planning stage and was projected to be 5 years off and pretty close with the city. It's under construction now. So 7 years later, we know exactly what's happening with Hamilton Road. It's under construction now. And the city has built a full turning movement curb cut on Hamilton Road for Ms. Rastigar's property. In 2015, we didn't know that. The traffic staff didn't know that in 2015. They weren't sure what the access was going to be. And these 3 parcels, of which I now have the equity parcel before you, built a new access, have built a new access in direct alignment with Glendon Park condominiums. And it is the responsibility of Kroger, Bank of America, and Equity to signalize that intersection. Kleinger's engineering group is currently working on the Dory plan with Daniel and staff, so that intersection gets signalized. But in 2015, and I guess in 2019, I don't know, since I wasn't involved with B of A on that, The request of me in 2015 was to provide access across what is now the Bank of America parcel for Ms. Rastigar's parcel to get to the future signal for left turning movements in the event left turning movements were not permitted when Hamilton Road was built. So 7 years later, Hamilton Road is now under construction. She has a full turning movement access by the Bank of America zoning. She's still entitled to access across the Bank of America parcel. It is not built because the zoning language says when the parcel to the north is redeveloped, access shall be provided. So there's not a driveway to the edge of the common property line, but she is entitled to access depending on whatever the design of that commercial site is. So what I'm saying about that is that there is no change in access by this zoning. You'll note on the Bank of America site plan where the second red line is, the east red line, it's a 22-foot driveway. That's what's there today. And then beyond that, to the east, is where the proposed equity parking is. So there's no change occurring with this zoning that is causing access to be blocked or parking spaces to be maneuvering into it. And no representation was ever made anyway that there would be a private driveway from her property across the 2015 zoning. It's a vehicular connection. So on the north property line setback issue, again, this text that is being proposed to be changed now, text from 2015, recognized that the site was adjacent to kind of a quasi-residential use. In 2015, the building was being partially used for commercial uses. It is today. There may be an apartment there. I don't know. It may all be commercial. I don't know. But setbacks were designed that Bank of America lived with and Equity will live with because there were some unknowns at that time. There would actually be no required setback under the code for parking adjacent to parking in commercial districts. The 20-foot to 0-foot maneuvering, this is an extremely routine item for sharing parking lot aisles. The suggestion of not sharing parking lot aisles would mean that one property owner would pave 20 feet wide, and then right next to that, another property owner would pave 20 feet wide. So we have 40 feet of asphalt for adjacent rows of parking spaces to maneuver into. This is an extremely common arrangement where there's paired rows of 90-degree parking maneuvering into the same aisle. I can go on. I don't think I need to, but if you have any questions of me, the proposed occupancy here is a preschool and medical offices. And the proposed occupancy in 2015 was 2-story retail restaurant and office uses, second floor office uses. And there is less coverage, less pavement coverage with this proposal than the 2015 site plan. So, I mean, I think it kind of speaks for itself.
Question, I can't read this clearly, but is that a 6-foot fence or an 8-foot fence?
6 foot.
6 foot,
Yeah.
and then you've got planning on your side?
Yes.
Okay. Board on board or? No.
I don't think it was specified as the type.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, comments? We've had your input. I think if you can make a quick comment, I'm willing to hear it.
Say that property for the last 27 years has had full running. And due to presence of the traffic signal, like a permit from city of this highway from one side of my property to the other side of the property, just to be away from the signal. So I have done everything I can to be a good neighbor for and it would be really nice to have the same back from them. these variances that they're asking is really going to be hindrance in the future. You know, too much of a future for reasoning for that. And I believe that two parkings against each other are hindering that access connector to my property. And it's really needed. So that's what they're trying. And I appreciate you letting me speak. Thank you.
Okay, sure. These things do come up in CPD issues because they're a bit of a jigsaw puzzle and not a historically isolated kind of zonings. I think we all understand that with the years we've been up here. I think we're ready to call a roll with this one.
Ken Luque,
Yes.
Denise Keys,
Yes. Yes.
Marty Anderson,
Yes.
Amanda Golden,
Yes.
John Ingwerson,
Yes.
Chair Fitzpatrick.
Yes, you're approved. I think when the dust settles, this is all going to work out and there'll be options for people. But you will have your say with city council regarding the rezonings or the BZA issues. Okay, we will go to case number. Oh, you got it, that's right.
Case number 8, Z21-101, 3925 South Hamilton Road.
Friday, the site consists of a portion of an undeveloped parcel in the LC4 Limited Commercial District. The request